Hey everyone, thank you for watching. So today's video is going to be a little casual get ready with me. This is stemming from a video I did about 2 weeks ago. It was a live at PR haul, and I asked people what they would want to see most with some of the products that I was hauling, and it seemed the most requested was a get ready with me using the products, seeing how they apply, but then actually reviewing them. So I've taken about 2 weeks. I've been using these products like crazy so we can have this get ready with me. I'll show you how everything is applying, but I will actually be reviewing the majority of the products. I think I only have like maybe 2 products in here that are going to be a first impression, but I thought I could try them out in this video as well. So I have like Charlotte Tilbury, Urban Decay, Kevyn Aucoin, Pure Cosmetics, and more. So if you want to do a get ready with me and get some new makeup reviews, why don't we go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the eyes like I normally do, and I hauled both the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Eye Palette in that video and then also the Urban Decay Distortion palette, but I felt like more people were curious about the Instant Eye Palette from Charlotte Tilbury, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and use in my eyes today, but I will touch briefly on the Urban Decay Distortion here in a bit. But I'm going to be using the Instant Eye Palette from Charlotte Tilbury. Now this was the first time that I was trying out an eyeshadow palette from Charlotte Tilbury. So this palette is $75. You can also find it on Beautylish, so I'll have some links down below. And it's separated into little trios here. A day eye, a dusk eye, a date eye, and then a disco eye. And I have used almost every single shade in this palette. I've been trying it out, trying to get a good feel for it, especially with it having a $75 price tag. I know a lot of people are saying, is that worth it? So let's get started with this eye look. I'm going to come into the first shade right here, which is just kind of a matte white shade. I'm going to use the Moda Super Crease brush. I do have some eyeshadow primer on, and then I'm just going to go ahead and set that primer with that first shade. And then I'm going to come into Desk Eye and use this middle brown right here. I'm going to use the Morphe E27. I'm just going to sweep that one into the crease as my first transition color. And then I'm going to come into Date Eye and use the last matte brown here. And I'm going to use my Sigma E25 for this. And I'm going to concentrate this color on the outer part of the lid. And then slowly work on blending that in, but not taking it all the way to the inner part of my eye. And then slowly just kind of flicking that shade outwards as well. For this palette, I will say that the mattes are really, really good. I mean, if you saw with that second brown that I put on the outer part, I mean, it is boom, it is there, it is pigmented. They are really easy to blend. The mattes are really, really good, minus the black here. I swatched it when I did the live haul. It's not very black. It doesn't really pack much of any sort of punch, but other than that, the other mattes in here are very, very nice. The shimmers to me are lacking, and we are going to put a shimmer color on, and I think the only shimmer that I have not used on my eye yet is one from Day Eye, so that's what I'm going to try out today. I think every other shimmer I have tried. I really do like this one from Disco Eye. I have a tutorial on my Instagram using that one. I will leave it linked down below, and I know I was wearing it in one of my videos. I think it was my Flashback Friday for my Cyber Monday haul last year. I believe that's the one that has that eye look in there. It's really, really nice, but it takes a very long time to build up. You definitely have to have a damp brush when working with these shimmers, and you just have to take your time. This shimmer right here in Date Eye was actually pretty disappointing. It's very, very sheer, and it's mostly just very glittery. So that one didn't really do much at all. The other 3 shimmers that I've used were just like, okay. They need help. You need to take your time. Definitely the mattes in here are way better than the shimmers, but they're like decent. They're decent. So I just sprayed my Sigma. This is a concealer F70 brush. And then I'm going to come into the second shade from the Desk Eye side and see how this one goes. See, can you guys tell? Like, that is even with a damp brush. Like, I don't even really want to know what it would be like without using the damp brush. So, I mean, you can get it there. You just have to build it up. You have to take your time with it. And I just have to take more time than I want to building them up, but you can see already, like, it's starting to come along. It's starting to come along. It wants to be there, so I'm just gonna take my time and work on building up the shimmer. Once I do have that pretty build up, I'm gonna come back in with the E25. I'm just gonna make sure everything is really blended together. So that's really all I'm going to do for the eyes. It's really nothing like super challenging or crazy, but really with the palette like this, you have different variations of browns and different variations of very light shimmers. So you're pretty limited with what you can do with the palette. But if that is your vibe and you like, you know, something like super, you know, kind of simple, like a simple layout like this, I think that you would probably like the palette. But if you're more adventurous, or if you're someone who really loves a really good shimmer that packs a punch, I don't think that you would have much use for this palette. So overall, before we keep on rolling and such, what do I think of this palette? Do I think it's worth the $75? Would I recommend it? And all of that. I will say that the packaging kind of surprised me because it's just the plastic packaging, and I don't know why I thought it would be something maybe a little bit more heavy duty. You do get a nice mirror with it, which is good. I like the layout of it. I like palettes that have kind of like a certain layout to it. Because I'm not a makeup artist, I'm not artistically creative, like sometimes I need a palette like this to kind of help me out. So I do appreciate that. But like I said, there's really not a lot of variations with this palette. There's not really a whole lot that you can do. The shimmers in here, I mean, they're not like the same, but they're very, very similar to one another. So it's gonna be kind of hard to get a lot of different looks out of a palette like this. Even though you have, you know, a variety of different shades in here, they're just also super similar that you might not be able to get a lot of use out of them. And then, like I said, the mattes are really, really nice in here. I think the mattes are really great, pigmented, easy to blend. Those are wonderful. But the shimmers do take quite a bit of time, and I feel like they can fade pretty easily, which I don't think is great. So overall, I can't say that I think that this is worth the $75. I know that you can find it on Beautylish, and you know, maybe if you can find some sort of deal or discount on it, it's still a nice palette. It's not bad. You know, it's not like the worst palette I've ever tried or anything like that. It's still a nice eyeshadow palette, but I think for what you're getting inside, and then especially with having to work so hard for the shimmers, I can't say that it's, yes, spend $75 on it. I just don't think it would be in that price range for me personally. A nice palette. The quality overall didn't blow me away, like formula wise didn't completely blow me away. If this would have been an all matte palette, I think I would have been much more excited, but it just was kind of a bummer to see those shimmers not work out quite as well as the mattes did. But I think it's just okay, and for $75 I need something a little bit better than okay. So next up, I do want to just put the eyes on hold. We're gonna do something really simple with the eyes. I'm just gonna do mascara. I'm not gonna do lashes or crazy liner today. So I am gonna move over to the face before I finish up the eyes. This is an item that will be a first impression. I haven't tried this one out yet, but it is from Charlotte Tilbury as well. This is the Magic foundation. Now I have tried the Light Wonder foundation and I absolutely love it, so I'm curious to see how the Magic foundation works out. I got mine in the shade medium. This was sent to me from Charlotte Tilbury as well. I have some new brushes here also. Called these in the live chat. These are from Real Techniques. I'll be honest, I have meant to use these as so many times since getting them in the live haul, and I've just completely forgot. But this one, I'm actually not going to use this for face. I think I've seen my friend Liv. She really liked it for her face, but I think this is just going to be too big for me. I'm going to hold off on that one. But I have these two little brushes that I want to try out. This one says it is for foundation, and I feel like it would be a better fit for my face. This one is $19.99, and then this one is too. This is the contour brush for $19.99. They sent me a couple other brushes too, but I set those aside for a giveaway. These honestly, and like the reason why I haven't gravitated towards them is because these aren't like my favorite brushes ever to use. I have a couple other brushes like this in the similar style, and I just don't reach for them a ton. I reach for my regular brushes or my beauty blenders over them, but we're gonna give them a try because I know I need to test them out. So I do have my face already primed, so we are going to try this out. So this is not a pump. This is what the foundation looks like. Okay, is that right? Or no, that can't be right, can it? There. Okay, I was like, this does not seem right, but it was like it was loose. I haven't opened it at all. It was like this part was loose. I was like, wait a second, that could not, did you guys see my face? I can't wait to play that back. Like, what? Okay, so we will just go ahead and see here. I was looking at the Beautylish website earlier, and it says that this foundation is $44. These brushes are super, super soft. Ooh, I like that. It looks to be right now pretty medium coverage. My skin is kind of mad at me, so I have some redness on my chin, and it's covering most of it, but not quite all of it. So I'm gonna do just maybe like 1.5 more pumps of foundation to try to cover up some more of that redness. Like with that first pass, it almost looks like a light to medium coverage. And it's kind of crazy because looking at it, it says on the Beautylish website that this is full coverage. So let's see if we can build it up. I mean, I don't need full coverage. I don't really love full coverage, but maybe you have to build it up. I'm used to, like with a full coverage foundation, like the Urban Decay All Nighter foundation. I wore that the other day. I mean, that you need like so little foundation and it like, boom, you got a second skin on. Ain't nobody seeing your skin with that foundation. I mean, now I would say it's just like straight medium coverage and I can still see redness on my chin. So I don't know. I don't think this is a full coverage foundation unless you want to do like 7 pumps of it or something. It looks nice though so far. I still think that I like the Light Wonder from Charlotte Tilbury a lot more. That one was one that I immediately put it on and was like, oh, my skin looks beautiful. Brush I thought was really nice though. This is a good size for my face. So I liked it. It was really easy to blend out and really, really soft. Again, I don't gravitate towards these brushes a ton, but this one was actually pretty nice. It was nice and easy to move around. The handle was easy to grip too. It kind of moves with your hand instead of just being like I felt like that was pretty nice. So far, so good on the brushes, you know, pretty good for the foundation. So next up, I have an item that I know a lot of people are very, very curious about, and this is one that I have been using almost every single day, trying to get a review for. That is the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. I got asked a ton of times over in that live chat if I would do a review for the All Nighter. So I am using the shade Light Neutral, and this is what the applicator looks like. Pretty standard applicator here. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply it under one eye here. And you really do not need a lot with this concealer, I'm telling you. And then I'm gonna pick up the other Real Techniques brush and use that to blend it out and see how we do. I honestly think that this concealer is better with a damp beauty blender, but honestly, actually this is working out really well. Okay. Normally I don't do brushes like this a lot for under the eye area because I think that it kind of pulls and tugs a little bit too much, but this is my penance for not using these sooner so I can review them. So we have to do a first impressions in here, so this is my punishment. This is what I deserve for not using these brushes. But actually it's working out much better than I thought it was going to. That's kind of freaking me out. Okay, Real Techniques. Here's the one side with concealer and then the other side without concealer. So what do I think about this concealer? This concealer is full coverage. They are not lying when they say that this is a very, very full coverage concealer. They're not lying when they say you need a little bit. I mean, even with the Shape Tape, I tend to go crazy and like draw it all over my eyes and, you know, all over my face, and then it just gets away from myself. You truly, truly, truly do not need that with this. It has pros and I think it has cons. I will tell you both of my opinions, and then you just have to make your decision from there depending on what you prefer in a concealer, what your skin type is, and all of that. How well this is even going underneath my eye. Well, this brush is really exciting me, and I do not get excited about these type of brushes, so hey, that's amazing. So this concealer, like I said, is very, very full coverage. If you need help hiding dark circles on your under eyes, if you need help hiding blemishes, she gonna do it for you. Very, very full coverage. The first thing I noticed when I applied it, and I had only used it that day as I was doing the live chat, but I was like, one of the first things that I noticed is that it's drying. I don't typically love a drier formula when it comes to concealer because I can deal with dry under eyes. So if I'm putting on a dry concealer, I'm kind of having to like tug and pull at my under eyes. It's just kind of a hot mess. So that to me is a con. But like I said, if you use a damp beauty blender, it blends out much easily, or just get this Real Techniques brush now because hello. I like this way more because I've been trying with, you know, beauty blenders and different types of my favorite concealer brushes, and this one is taking the cake right now. I hate doing that with first impressions, like this is my new favorite, but honestly, I've been trying so many different brushes with this concealer and I'm like, no, it's the beauty blender. I mean, I still would pick the beauty blender, but this is a very close second. But I like the Beauty Blender because it kind of helps bring a little bit of moisture back into it so it's not quite as dry. That to me was a downfall, and to me you have to do one eye and then the other eye. I can't do something where I do both under eyes or the middle of my face. I have to take it one at a time. That's normally not my favorite way to do a concealer, but there is also a lot of pros with this one in that it does seem to blend out easy when I use the Beauty Blender and this brush. It does blend out very easily. Sometimes with drier concealers, I kind of have to really work and pull and tug to get it to blend out. This is very easy to blend out and very quickly to blend out. Also, it makes the under eye area look so freaking good. The under eyes just look pretty darn flawless and just nice. I don't know how else to explain it, but it really does make the under eyes look very, very nice. And then I will also say is that I didn't experience a lot of creasing with this one either, and that was another thing in the live chat. I had had it on for like 7 or 8 hours or something by the time I did the live chat a couple weeks ago, and I was looking, I had the mirror right up in my face, and I was like, I really don't notice much of anything going on here when it came to like creasing or, you know, like settling into wrinkles or things like that. So I think that is very good as well. I've been trying to compare because like I said, there's pros and there's cons, and it just kind of depends on your preference. But I don't always need like a super full coverage on my under eyes, and sometimes it's just a little bit too much for me. But if you're someone who really loves full coverage, I think that you would really like this one. I would just be aware that it's a little bit drier. Honestly, if that wasn't happening with this concealer, I would probably say like, yes, 5 stars, absolutely love it. But because it has just that one little con that to me is a big deal. That might not be a big deal to you. To me, it's a bigger deal and not what I prefer in my concealer. So that's why I give it like 4 stars. I still really like it, and I've still been using it a ton, and not just because I need to review, but because I actually do like it. And especially for days if I don't sleep well and I have the dark under eyes, I know I can come into this one and it's going to cover everything. It's going to kind of like lift my under eyes and just make everything look better under there. I also really, really enjoy this for covering imperfections. So I'm going to use this on my chin. I think this is really, really nice to cover blemishes. I don't really do a lot of color correcting. I know that that's kind of like a big thing. I really just don't do it a ton. I typically will just use my concealer. I mean, you can see like it is very, very full coverage, but it is going to cover up those blemishes that the foundation could not do. So now I feel a ton better because that's what it covered that right up. So this I think is freaking bomb for covering blemishes. I'm not saying that, you know, this can replace your color corrector if you're someone who really deals with really bad or like cystic acne or things like that. I'm not saying go put the concealer all over your face. You probably still need to do some sort of color correcting, but maybe if you're someone like me who only deals with breakouts during certain times of the month and all of that fun stuff, or like stress related breakouts and things, and you want to cover up the redness, those are some pros and some cons to the concealer, and then, you know, you just kind of have to make your choice for what you prefer. But I really do like it. Like I said, I would give it a 4-star review. It's $29, so I think it's pretty pricey. I think the Shape Tape is maybe like $27, and I think you actually get more with the Shape Tape. You get more product. I do not think this and the Shape Tape, I don't think they're a dupe for one another. I don't think that they're super similar. The Shape Tape I don't find to be drying at all. It has a completely different applicator, but I still like this one in its own. I still like it for what it is. There's just a few cons in there that would make me not give it a 5-star review, but I give it a solid 4-star. So I did go ahead and set it real quickly with a setting powder, and next up I want to talk about the Kevyn Aucoin NeoTrio. And this, I did not put in that live PR haul. I've had it for some time. I did get it sent to me in PR though, and I have been testing them out lately, so I thought I could put it in here since this is mostly focused on giving reviews. So again, this is called the NeoTrio, and it is $58. It is also available at Sephora. And inside you have the Neo Limelight in Ibiza, which is a highlight. And then you also have the Neo Bronzer in Capri. So this one is really interesting. You have a bronzer, a blush, and then also what can be used as a highlight. And then this last one here is the Neo Setting Powder. So they say that this is a setting powder, and it says on the back it has a matte side and then a shimmer side. To me, it was all shimmer. I'm not gonna lie, all of it was shimmer, so I've never used this as a setting powder because it has a lot of shimmer to it, so I don't know why I would put that on my under eyes. And the actual highlight, again, it kind of has this like ombre effect. You can do more of the purple, iridescent, or you can combine it all, or you can just do the middle here. So these two are from that palette. But I'm going to go ahead and use the bronzer and blush from the Capri palette, and I'll show you guys how they apply. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the bronzer, and I like using this Moda brush. This is a Moda buffer brush because it's a little bit smaller, because the tricky thing about these is that obviously the colors are like ombre together, so you can kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So I just kind of lightly dip into there, and then I'm going to go ahead and bronze up the skin with it. It's actually a really beautiful bronzer though. I like so many of Kevyn Aucoin's face products. It is unreal bronzers, the sculpting powder, highlights, like they are just really, really nice, and I like this bronzer and the blush. I've been reaching for the blush so much too. I think I've actually been reaching for the blush more than the bronzer, to be honest. But I just think both are really, really pretty. You just need to make sure you have the smaller brushes to get into them correctly, which can drive me a little bit batty, but the end result is really pretty. So again, you get all three palettes for $58, and if you were to buy one full size of like the Neo highlighter or, you know, Neo bronzer, the one full size is $58. So you're getting a little bit smaller of the trio items, but then you get to try out them instead of spending the full price on just one. And it's definitely more of a high-end luxury brand. But seriously, there are so many items from the brand that I just think are really, really stunning if you can cope with the price tag. I definitely don't think the trio is going to be for everybody, but again, it would be a good way to try out the products. I also really like the contour and sculpting book and the Making Faces beauty book. Again, they come with a lot of different items in there, because to purchase full-size Kevyn Aucoin single products are pretty darn pricey. But if you buy something like this trio or the contour book or the Making Faces beauty book, they're higher prices, but for the value inside and for everything that you're getting is actually a really good deal. So I would say to check those out as well and see kind of like what suits your fancy and what would make sense for you. So then I'm just going to kind of dip into the middle of this here. I'm using my Sigma F40, and I'm just going to use this as my blush. And again, I think this blush is just so pretty. So if you want to try it out and see if it's for you, you could get the bundle if that makes sense to you. But that is the bronzer and the blush on me. The highlights are really pretty, but I have another palette that I'm going to use for a highlight. But again, like I said, I don't use this one as a setting powder at all, but it gives a really nice, kind of more natural yet iridescent at the same time. So that doesn't make a ton of sense. But this one, when I use it as a highlight, it's not like super blinding or super overpowering, can be seen from space. So if you like a more subtle highlight, but something that's still really cool and kind of funky with this kind of iridescentness to it, then this is what I use as a highlight when I am, you know, doing those days. And if you want something a little bit more on the adventurous side, you can go for the more of the purple tone in here, or you can mix them together. But this one definitely gives more of like a pop-in highlight versus the one that's like the setting powder. So that's kind of my feedback on this little NeoTrio palette from Kevyn Aucoin. I could talk about the other eyeshadow palette that I hauled in there. This is the Urban Decay Distortion palette. You can see the packaging is really, really funky. I believe this is $48. So this one, when I hauled it, I at first was like, I don't know. I mean, like, looks cool, but not 100% on this. And as we were going throughout the live chat and, you know, I'm reading the comments, someone said, if you put the black on and then you layer it with these transformer shades, which is the first row, it's supposed to be really cool. And I was like, oh, I get it. I had just gotten it like an hour before I started my live chat, so I really had no information on it yet. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. So you do get a really big mirror, and then you have all these different shades in here, and the top row is supposed to be these transformer shades where you can overlay on top of really any of the shades in here, and it will make it kind of like a different color. Now these are all shimmers in here except for the black, which is a matte black. I will insert a photo of some swatches in here as well. They are over on my Instagram. But when I swatched the black on camera, I like went insane. I was like, that is the blackest black, like creamy black eyeshadow. Normally you do not get that with black eyeshadows. And I had just swatched the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Eye Palette before that, and the black was really, really like kind of a letdown. So then I went and swatched this one, and I was like, okay. So I have been using this palette. I will have a tutorial on Instagram. If it's not up yet, it will be coming soon. I did a purple eye look the other day, and I always have such a struggle remembering which videos they were. I think it was makeup that I won't pay full price for. I had a purple eye look that is actually from this palette, using the black and then using Mind Game from the first row over it, and it created a really cool purple color. So this palette is very, very interesting to me. Now, you don't have to use the Transformer shades, of course. I have used Territorial all over my lid as well, and it was a really nice brown color. I will say the purples I've used, it was this one, which is kind of like a purpley pink. That one was not quite as exciting as I hoped it would be, but the blue was really nice. So I haven't used every single shade out of here, but I've used several of them on my eyes or in some sort of combination on my eyes, so I could chat about it. I feel like this is a really interesting palette, and I feel like it's pretty unique with those Transformer shades because it kind of opens up, you know, you're not only getting just these eyeshadows, now you can mix and match and layer, and it's kind of interesting. But my con with that is that sometimes I don't really want to do that. Like sometimes I just kind of want to create a somewhat normal eyeshadow look, and this really is geared more towards, you know, like the artistic, more vibrant, creative, which sometimes I do reach for those types of looks and I want to create them, but I definitely have other palettes that I can do that for. So it's like, do I need a whole other palette just to create something kind of funky and offbeat? For me personally, no. Maybe for you, that's your vibe and your style, then I think that you would really like this one, and there's a lot of different options that you can do. Like I mentioned, I'm not someone who's artistically creative, but I got excited when I started swatching and I understood what this palette was about, and I've had fun playing with it and using it and seeing what type of looks I can come up with. But I still prefer the Urban Decay Heavy Metal eyeshadow palette over this one. And that one is all shimmers as well, but those I just feel like there's even more possibilities in there. There's different shades and tones and warm tones and cool tones, and I just have so much fun playing with the Urban Decay Heavy Metal palette, which is a complete shock to me because it's all shimmer. I didn't think I'd be able to get a lot of looks out of it, and I use it so frequently. I know that these, you know, both released very, you know, frequently and kind of right behind one another. Would I recommend the Heavy Metal Shimmer palette, or would I recommend the Distortion palette? I'm gonna go ahead and have to say the Heavy Metal palette. I still just like it a lot more. This isn't a bad palette, and again, it's, you know, a lot of the shades are pigmented. There's a lot of like unique qualities with this one, but I just don't find myself, I don't think that I will reach for this one as much as some of my other ones, including that Heavy Metal palette. So still cool, just not all the shades are quite as good as the others. And then with these Transformer colors, unless you're using them as a Transformer color, they don't do a lot on the eyes. So then, you know, it's kind of like a toss up there, like, is it worth the $48? There's no other mattes in there besides the black, which the black is freaking amazing though, I will say that. And I do like the mirror. Packaging is very cool, but you know, of course, as with everything, it's going to come down to your personal preference. Hopefully some of those pros and cons helped you out. For me, it's still a good palette, but just not one that I think that I would reach for enough to like really get super hyped and crazy over it, but it was still a nice palette. I filled in my brows off camera, and I'm going to come back into the Charlotte Tilbury palette now and then finish off the eyes. So I'm just going to take a mixture of these two browns from the Desk Eye side. I'm going to use, this is an e.l.f., what is this? An e.l.f. 202 brush. It's just like a pencil brush. It looks exactly like the Sigma E30 that I love so much. And I'm just going to smudge both of those shades onto the lower lash line. And then I'm going to use the same matte white that I used, the very first shade that I used in my Morphe E36. And I'm just going to place that onto the inner part of my eye just to brighten it up, and then also onto the brow bone. Like I said, I'm not going to do lashes today, so I'm just going to do some Pur Big Look mascara. I don't have any new mascaras either, so I just did my mascara clutter, so I'm trying to get through some of the ones that I was like, I know it just has a few uses left, so I'm going to apply this to my lashes. Like, I'm not a big mascara fan, but this is a good mascara. So next up, I have some items here from Pure Cosmetics that I want to talk about, but before I do that, I forgot that I had an announcement to make, in this video is going up on Friday, which is December 1st, and on December 1st, I'm kicking off 12 days of giveaways across my YouTube, my Instagram, and then also my Snapchat. So every single day for the next 12 days, I will have an item up for grabs. I'm really excited to be doing this, so I hope that you're subscribed over here to my YouTube channel, and also be sure to check me out on Instagram and then also Snapchat. All of those will be listed down below, and then I'll also be doing quite a few announcements on my Twitter as well. So I will have all that information in the description box like I normally do, but I'm really excited to kick off 12 days of giveaways and give away a prize every single day. And I wanted to do it across a bunch of different social media platforms because I know not everybody has all of the platforms, so I wanted to try to make it as inclusive as I could. So I'm so excited. It's kicking off today. So happy about that. Palette inside, you have 6 different shades, and then you also do have a mirror. I was so excited when I saw this because I really enjoy Pur highlights. They have a couple highlight shades in their vanity palettes and I love them. So when I saw the highlight palette, I was like, cannot wait. And I really enjoy this palette. I've been using it so much. Every shade in here is really good, except for this top middle one, which is called Sultry. That one is just like glitter. I don't know how that one got in there because all the other ones are actual like really nice, beautiful highlights, except for Sultry is kind of just real glittery. So than that, the other 5 are really gorgeous. There are the first 3 swatched out. So this first one is really cool, iridescent. I've really been liking that one. And then this one has a lot of like pinky tones to it. And then here are the 3 in the bottom row. There are those swatched out. This last one here is just a little bit too dark for me. But other than that, everything works. Even this pink one, which I wasn't so sure about, but I've used that one as well. So I really like all of them except for just that one. Like I feel like you can just see like it's just like glitter. But the one that I really have been gravitating towards the most is this first one, Twilight. So that's what I'm gonna use today. I'm gonna use the Sigma F35 to apply that. Like, you see that? I barely had to touch the brush to my cheeks. It's so beautiful. Here is what Twilight looks like on my cheeks. The palette is available for $32. I would highly recommend this one if you're on the lookout for a new highlight palette, which I know there's a lot of highlight palettes out there. But if you've been trying to decide, or you need to know what's worth it and what's not, I would definitely say this is worth the $32. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for face makeup, and now I'm going to do a lip product. I did want to touch on this one briefly because I've been using it so much lately. This is from Dior. This is called the Lip Glow Color Reviver Balm. I did get this one from Octoly, and you know what? I was just simply curious about it. Well, this packaging is like super bougie, which I thought was fun. I liked the kind of like pink here as well. This is what the lip balm looks like. It's a really nice lip balm. I've actually been carrying it around in my purse because I like it so much. It's very like thick. Like, I feel like with one swipe, you are just getting a lot of lip balm out, and it's really kind of like luxurious on the lips, which is great because it's $33. It better be luxurious for $33. I did not know that that was the price tag when I ordered it, and I actually just looked it up before I started filming this video, and I was like, $33, that's a lot of money for a lip balm, but at least it's really nice. It is. Like I said, I've been throwing it in my purse, and not even just because I've been reviewing it, because I've been reviewing it for a while. I just really like it, and I feel like it's just like nice and thick, and like it's really protecting my lips, which is great. I don't think I would repurchase this for myself though at $33. Like, I have other lip balms that I really do enjoy, but it's still really nice if you, like, if this is your style, or like you love Dior and you like to collect a lot of things from Dior, but you were like, is that lip glow really that nice? It is really nice, don't get me wrong. So now let's switch over and talk about a $30 lipstick, because why not? This is a little mini guy, so this wouldn't be $30, but this is a lipstick from Marc Jacobs. It is the La Marque Lip Creme, and it's in the shade Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I do have another one of these mini guys. Actually, it came in a Sephora favorite sets. Oh, there we go. It says Marc Jacobs on this side. It came in one of my Sephora favorite sets. I have it in Slow Burn, and I absolutely love it. I actually just got like a Sephora sample bag. They were having some sort of like get a bag full of samples when you place an order, I think on like Black Friday or something. And so I got a sample bag in, and it came with this lipstick, and so I thought, let's see what this color looks like. So here is what Kiss Kiss Bang Bang looks like, and let's see what it looks like on the lips. Ooh, that's fun. I'm not sure why I thought it was going to be more red when I just kind of glanced at it, but it's definitely more of like a poppin' pink. Like I said, I do have slow burn. I really like this formula, but like with a lot of Marc Jacobs things, I really like them and I recommend them, but it's hard for me to pay full price for them, and I enjoy getting these minis. If I can get them as a sample and some sort of lip set, I'm totally fine with that because they are really good. They're really creamy and comfortable on the lips, but they're really nice and long lasting. The color and the pigment really sticks around for a long time, so I think they're really nice. So when I saw that I could get another little mini guy in a shade that I don't already have, because I feel like slow burn shows up a lot as like samples, 100 point perks, things like that. When I saw a different shade in there, I just had to go for it. So this is the Kiss Kiss Bang Bang from Marc Jacobs. Alrighty, so this is the final look that I came up with. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and seeing me try out some new makeup and then also give my thoughts and reviews on them. I hope that you guys found that helpful versus more than just a first impression type of video. Thank you to everyone who voted. Having this style of video with some of those new products that I shared in the haul. Let me know what you thought about all of them down below, which ones you're gravitating towards, which ones maybe you already have, and things like that, and what you thought of the reviews as well. That you guys still enjoyed it or found it helpful. And of course, if you did, I hope that you will give this video a thumbs up. I hope that you will also consider subscribing before you go, and I will catch you in Sunday's video.